I left my unfaithful wife at a motel and questioned her for hours about her stolen automobile. This is the I left my unfaithful wife stranded at the hotel where she was unfaithful and tormented her until her downfall. It all started on a seemingly ordinary day when I found a hotel key card hidden in my wife's purse while looking for chewing gum, which she usually keeps there. The gum wasn't in the main pouch, so I went digging for I never go in her purse, but on this occasion, I was looking for some chewing gum, which is where she usually keeps it. I found an express key card, and I was certain we had never been there together. My heart began to race as I tried to jog my memory to recall if we had ever stayed at a Holiday Inn before. I just couldn't remember instead of confronting her about it. Immediately, I decided to do some detective work and figure out what was going on. I figured if she was actually meeting someone at a hotel, I would need to look for. I noticed a pattern and try to figure out when she could have been meeting her affair partner. With a bit of patience and a little bit of luck, I managed to decipher a pattern. I might be wrong about some of these days, but there was always something she had to do during the week that she didn't tell me about ahead of time. One day it might be that she had to go tanning. And as it turns out, the wait times were extended. Maybe she also ran into some friends there, and they talked for a long time in the waiting room. I'd be told about it afterwards. And so on one time, it was an impromptu coffee date with one of her girlfriends, and another time, a sudden urge to go see her sister or her mother. I mean, when I do something, I plan for it and run it by her to make sure she's good with it. I'm not a spoilt brat, but it's common courtesy to check in with my wife. When she doesn't, it can have a negative impact on our relationship. I prepared by enlisting my brother's help to uncover the truth and teach my wife a lesson she'd never forget. I told him everything, and I could see the look on her face. I was upset, but immediately converted into fierce anger. From the moment I stepped out of the car, I began recording everything on my phone and telling it like a genuine story. I made sure to capture the hotel sign and the surrounding area in the background as proof. I had my brother drive my car to his house, and I followed behind him in her car. I drove her car to my brother's place, parked it inside his garage, and then took my own car back home. I was excited to see her reaction when she realized that her car was gone. I sent her a text asking how her day was going. She said they were having a great one. Time passed, and I'm sure they were having a great day. I didn't say anything else. Soon enough, though her world would be falling apart hours later, she ended up having to get a ride home from her sister, who was completely unaware of the situation until this point. When she finally arrived, she told me that her car had been stolen from the mall. I had to suppress a grin as I secretly recorded our conversation with my cell phone's video camera. I decided to have some fun with her, so I started asking her questions about I kept asking her questions to see how much she knew. I wanted to know why she hadn't called the police and who else was with her at the mall. She was sweating and looked really uncomfortable. I told her she needed to call her friends to help us. She said they couldn't help, but I told her that was crazy and that she needed to call them now. She started to get up and leave the room, but I told her I asked her to stay and call the police so I could hear what they said and maybe help figure it all out. She started to leave anyway, but I insisted so. She sat down and stared at her phone. I could sense her desperation and admit it was thrilling when I said I was going to call the police. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. I told her we needed to call the police and picked up my phone. I contacted my brother, who pretended to be a police officer, and informed him that the car had been stolen from the mall. I informed the officer that my wife would supply all essential facts and that we would review the mall's CCTV videos for more information. My wife's face turned pale as she realized what was going on. I asked her lots of questions and asked why I also asked her where her shopping bags were, and she said that she had accidentally left them in her sister's car because she was stressed about the car. I told her to call her sister to have her bring her stuff back, but she just wouldn't do it. I kept the pressure on, but she wouldn't crack. In the end, this worked out in my favor, but I was trying my best to get her to confess after hours of drama and supposedly waiting for the police to arrive and ask her. I told her that if she wasn't going to help find the car or assist the police, I was going to have to divorce her. She was shocked, but I was just getting started. She was in disbelief as I called the divorce attorney right then and there. I scheduled a consultation and marked the appointment on the calendar in our kitchen. My wife couldn't believe it and started acting as if I was being unreasonable. I played it cool telling her that I couldn't. I told her that I couldn't stay with someone who couldn't protect our assets and that she needed to leave. I was happy to see her true colors, but I would be quite upset if she had cheated on me, which would have been far worse. I encouraged her to collect her belongings and go immediately, as she seemed terrified. I told the police to go to her sister's house and ask her any questions they needed. I also told her that she would be able to get her shopping bags back. My wife was terrified and confused as she packed her things and felt guilty as she put each item into her suitcase. I was excited to see the final act of my revenge play out as she walked out the door. I felt a strange sense of calm. I posted it on Facebook and tagged her, knowing that her friends, family, and colleagues would see the truth and face the consequences of her actions. I also knew that her colleagues would see the truth and her world would come crashing down around her. The agony she went through as she slowly realized the truth was extremely satisfying. I reveled in my revenge and had no regret as the video quickly circulated. My phone was inundated with messages from concerned friends, but she did not respond. I can only imagine her humiliation as she struggled with the onslaught. I have yet to find out who she was with, but if I do, I will destroy his life as well. My cheating wife was left with nothing but a shattered reputation and a crushing sense of regret. After leaving my unfaithful wife at the hotel, I emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined to live life on my own terms. In this case, karma taught us to trust our instincts and never be afraid to stand up for ourselves. We believe that standing up for ourselves can lead to a better outcome than being deceived by others. Do you think this was the appropriate level of vengeance? Share your thoughts in the comments section below.